Part number 19H with an aneroid grip. If you had one of these back in the 1930s, you really were the boy with the toys. Hi and welcome back. This build is for the roll-top desk from the early 1930s, and that is meant to be a mug of tea on the worktop. But it looks more like whitewash. Good grief, it's never good when the ginger fairy strikes. Like, for instance, remembering to turn the light on. And by the way, that tea remains mostly undrunk by the end of the build. The furniture builds from this period of Meccano's life always make me smile. As a child, I would never have built them, but as an adult, they appeal to me. Quite what it is that this range of models captures in me, I'm not sure. That they are so far from what we think of when Meccano is spoken of could be one. The design is another. The idea that metal plates can be used to capture the mind's eye, to recreate in some very basic detail the shape and form of something much more complicated. That appeals to me. When I built this model, I was listening to Sherlock Holmes and the Abergavenny Murder by Bert Coules. Clive Merrison is perfect as Holmes, I think, as is Andrew Sachs as Dr. Watson. As a bit of trivia, the case was inspired from a reference in The Adventure of the Priory School. It is unique in that the mystery was solved entirely in real time. Somehow the models seem to fit the play perfectly. As always, I like to do some research into the builds, impart some knowledge. You never know. It might help you win a quiz someday. This build starts with the manufacture of the waste paper bin, the office chair and the telephone. The waste paper bin being two 1-inch pulleys and a fish plate. You have to imagine the wire mesh bin. The chair would be about the most uncomfortable chair in the world, with a bolt that attaches the trunnion to the bush wheel, poking you in the, well, maybe this isn't the place for conversations like that. The telephone is a wonderful moment of, that looks close enough, and then your brain fills in the gaps. So what is a roll-top desk? We have again the French to thank for its origin, with King Louis XV asking his furniture designer Jean-François Aubin to design a bureau that could be locked, but did away with the problems of the cylinder or barrel desk. Monsieur Aubin worked on it for the last 6 years of his life, and then it was taken up by his successor, Jean-Henri Reisner. Monsieur Reisner taking another 6 years to perfect the design, finishing it in 1769. Why were the options of the time not good enough? The cylinder desk has an issue with warping if it's not maintained well. The pedestal desk didn't have the privacy that King Louis wanted, as the writing surface is not lockable. Neither did the bureau agrandi, for the same reason. Monsieur Reisner made around 6 desks across his career, and that was it. The roll-top desk just seemed to stop there. 6 wonderful bits of beautiful furniture. Until 1850, when Abner Cutler, owner of the Cutler Desk Company, painted it the roll-top desk. Out of interest, there were around 60 separate styles of desk out there for you to choose from. And as I sit at the computer, writing the script for this video, I do so sat at the pedestal desk my father made for me. The joy that brings me cannot be measured in words, and I look at all the clutter in the drawers and think I really need to have a clean out. But not now. I get sidetracked very easily. In fact, it doesn't take much for me to... Oh, wait, yes. Focus. Must finish writing the script. I'm talking about the roll-top desk not reading an article on Thomas Cochrane. So enter the Americans, and an iconic piece of history that spreads the world over is built. Without Mr. Cutler's work, the changes that he made to the manufacture of the roll top or the timbre, we might well today not have the grace and elegance of these items of furniture. The desk of the 18th century was a mark of wealth. By the 19th century, the desk was a must-have item of the expanding frontier of the USA to anywhere else in the world, as railways and telegraph offices, factories and industrial complexes grew and spread, and the need to write and draw and build the blueprint for what is now our time was born. And in that was the downfall of the roll top. New ways of working, new office layout designs, and new technology meant the very design of the roll top became less useful. The typewriter and then the computer meant that the desk was obsolete, old, and it was time for the new. Wood gave way to metal, and then to particle board, and finally the disposable desk was born. And I understand. The 19th century roll-top desk my sister has is beautiful. The little pigeonholes seem whimsical by modern standards. The fact that the desk will not even house a laptop, let alone a desktop, keyboard and mouse, show all too well how the design became unusable by the 20th century. That my desk is full and really does need to be cleared shows the benefit of the pedestal design for modern use, and the fact that I need to be tidier. But if we're talking about desks, maybe we should talk about the Meccano desk. Well, bench, but I would call it a desk. In the 1916 November-December issue of the Meccano magazine, there is an advert for the Meccano bench. This bench will be more than welcome to every Meccano boy who has accumulated a large number of Meccano parts. Each strip, plate, wheel, etc. has its proper place, and there are receptacles for nuts and bolts and other small parts. The manual is held conveniently for reference. Although there is ample room for making the biggest Meccano models, the bench is compact and does not take up much space. The measurements are 3 foot 10 inches high, without the manual holder, 3 foot 2 inches long and 2 foot deep. It is very strongly made of the best materials and the finish is of the highest grade. Price of bench, without parts, £5, or by modern standards about 450 quid using the RPI method or relative price index. Okay, it gets very complicated very quickly. But back to the build. The base of the desk is built around a 4-flanged number 52 plate. The top is a collection of parts with a curved plate forming the timbre of the desk, and 2 flat trunnions, the drawer sections, on either side. The flat surface is constructed with 2.5 inch double angle strips and 2.5 inch perforated strips. A number 188 flexible plate forming the back of the desk. The overall shape is about correct, and this is where the brain comes into play. We are told that this is a roll-top desk, so therefore the brain is pre-wired to see the end results. Most of us have seen at some point in either real life or on TV in the movies a roll-top desk. Our brain accesses information and tells us what to expect in a theory called top-down processing. In this case, while the desk looks like a desk, after all, we've been told it is one, therefore it must be, and the brain searches for existing examples which it has already encountered. Then the visual regions of the brain perform an act called illusionary shape perception. It looks at the framework of parts that have been bolted together, ignores the bits that are not important, like the holes, the bolts, etc., and says, hey, this is a roll-top desk. Look, it has the timbre. And inside would be the writing surface with the little pigeonholes, etc. It has drawers on either side. You can see the drawer handles. The waste paper bin becomes what it should be, a wire mesh bin. If your imagination is good, and mine is, you can hear the telephone ringing. Oh wait, sorry, that is the phone ringing.